Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video we'll be going over what the national media and the draft experts think about the Washington Commanders 2024 NFL draft, and I'll give you guys my final opinion as well. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well. Close to 13,000 subscribers. Each one of you guys counts, and it really helps out a ton, and it means a ton, and it's free, so go ahead and do it. It would mean a ton to me. Alright, so the Washington Commanders and the whole NFL draft in general is over. All the undrafted free agents are signed and everything. So it's time to look over the class. And I already gave you guys most of my thoughts, but we'll rehash those real quick at the end. But I want to go over what the national media thinks. And that doesn't always matter, but it is interesting to see their perspective, now after, the post Dan Snyder versus the pre Dan Snyder, where we would never be given the benefit of the doubt. And honestly, it doesn't matter what other people think, but when at least sometimes when respected people like your draft, it means that you're on the right track at least, but sometimes it doesn't. So here's the draft class: Jaden Daniels, Johnny Newton. I'm just gonna call him Johnny Newton. Mike Sainristil, cornerback Michigan, Ben Sinnott, Brendan Coleman, Luke McCaffrey, Jordan McGee, Dominic Hampton, I think it's just Dom Hampton, and then Javonte Jean Baptist, edge rusher out of Notre Dame. So pretty good class overall. What is that? Nine players that they drafted. They had 11 undrafted free agents, so they're gonna have 20 rookies in camp and, this offseason training camp and the preseason. That's a lot of rookies, and then plus the 20 plus guys they signed. So it's a lot of new guys on this team. But let's go ahead and get into the grades that these, national pundits have given the Commanders. So and shout out to Hogs Haven here for the list. CBS Sports, Prisco has them at an A+. They said the best pick was Jaden Daniels. Worst pick was Luke McCaffrey, according to him. He said, I think there are better options on the board, like Troy Franklin. It is what it is. I honestly really like the Luke McCaffrey pick. I think there's some upside in that pick. And being Christian McCaffrey's brother helps in terms of me thinking you have upside. But also, he's relatively new to the wide receiver position. And he's going to know what he needs to do to be a pro, because his dad did it, his brother's done it, so he has a lot of good people to lean on, and I do think that is important. I really do think that is important. Sports Illustrated gave the Commanders an A+. He said, this is one of the few drafts that I thought elevated a team from its pre-draft status into something promising. Could Washington be this year's Texans? I'm not ruling it out either. The only way they're going to be this year's Texans is if Jaden Daniels ends up being maybe not as good as CJ Stroud was, but very good in his rookie year. That's the only way. An RG3 type year. CBS Sports Trapasso has them at an A. Not going to get into too much there. The Ringer had them at an A. Associated Press at an A. Pro Football Focus. Don't love Mike Florio on them, but hey, they gave us an A. A lot of good grades here for the Washington Commanders. Obviously, it's not going to all be A's for sure. And I think, I don't know who did the grades here for Pro Football Focus, if it was Chris Sims or not. I know he really liked Jaden Daniels. Let's see. He's QB3 on the PFF board. But I think Chris Sims Pro Football Focus. Never mind. This is PFF. Sorry. This is PFF, not Pro Football Talk or whatever Mike Florio's show is. Sporting News A, Sharp Football Analysis, which is, I believe that's Warren Sharp, had them at an A. New York Post A, Barstool Sports A, and there's some other sites as well that I'm going to get into, but very good grades for the Washington Commanders. Very good grades overall. Let's go into a couple more here for you guys, and I'm just going in, pulling up another tweet here. Shout out to Street Scores there. There's a video. So 33rd team, you see their grades here for all the picks. Gave Mike Sainristil a C-. Don't love that grade right there. D for Brandon Coleman. D for Luke McCaffrey. So they did not give the Commanders a good grade. So if you want to see one, site that didn't give them a good grade, it's them. It's them. They gave us I don't know what this overall grade is, but it's not great. Their best grade was Jaden Daniels and Ben Sinnott. And then after that, you know, they had a couple Ds, which I don't get how the Brandon Coleman pick is a D position of need, and I don't think it was that much of a reach. I mean, I guess I can see the Luke McCaffrey thing because it seems like a little bit of a reach, but I don't know. I'm just looking over here so we can see some more grades, and I have one right here on my phone with some grades. But I just think that is a very low grade to give the Commanders for their draft. And, you know, Brandon Coleman and Luke McCaffrey, I don't think D's are warranted for that, at least. So I'm pulling up another one right here. So, and some of these will be repeats, but ESPN had them as an A-. We went over AP News, NFL.com A-, The Ringer A, USA Today A-, and then we also had Roto World. They had the Commanders at an A grade. So, I should have looked up draft grade, not draft class. That's what I thought I looked up. So you see again, A+, A+. I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section down below about what grade you would give the Commanders draft class. For me, I'll give it like, and this is a fan voting, they gave it mostly an A. I would give it between a B and an A. I think, you know, there were some things they did really well. They got some really talented players. I would probably give it like a B+, A-. I think it was like A-. I think it's a good draft. I think they could have done a little bit more to help out the offensive line. That's really my only knock on the draft class. That's really my only knock on the draft class is that is them not getting an offensive lineman earlier. But hey, they tried to get the most talented players, and that's what they did, getting Johnny Newton in the second round. He was projected to go in the first, so getting him in the second is a very good pick is very good value. So I'm not going to knock him too much for that, but I probably would have went offensive line there. But at the same time, the board just didn't fall that way for them. They didn't feel like their offensive linemen good enough to justify taking them right there. So they decided trade back. They took Mike Sainristil and they took Ben Sinnott and they took an offensive lineman later, and we'll see how it works out. Brandon Coleman, very, very, very athletic dude, and has a chance to be a very good starting tackle in this league. You look at his measurables, very similar to Trent Williams coming out of college. I'm not calling him Trent Williams whatsoever, but just some of the measurables, it's similar to what Trent Williams was coming out of Oklahoma. All right, real quick, here's Roto World. They had them at an A. They had them as the highest graded team in the NFL, right next to the Eagles, or NFC, sorry. And you have the Falcons and the Vikings pretty low there. The Falcons with a D+. They drafted Michael Penix really early. And I don't think Michael Penix is a bad prospect, but they just paid Kirk Cousins a lot of money, so it doesn't make a ton of sense. And then NBC Sports has the Washington Commanders at an A overall grade, so they viewed them pretty highly. Their worst pick was Brandon Coleman, according to them. But let's see, or they said Brandon Coleman minus 47 is not a reach in my book or many other evaluators, as he was my number 10 offensive lineman. Washington piled a wealth of talent onto the roster, but at least according to the big board, not this guy's big board, but the overall big board, he was a little bit of a reach, but I think it was a solid pick. Very athletic guy. Sainristil was a very good pick as well. So, yeah, overall, a lot of people like the Commanders draft class. Guess what? It doesn't matter a ton. Let's see how these players produce. Let's see how these coaches develop these players. I could care less what the draft grade is right now because so many things can change that are out of some of these players' controls, out of the team's control. And sometimes you get lucky, but a lot of time it's very good development by these teams. So let's hope that Adam Peters chose the right guys, but also that he chose the right coaches to develop these young guys. And hopefully in a couple years, we have a few starters out of this class. I mean, at minimum, we got 6 guys in the top 100. I mean, you would hope you have 3 or 4 starters in this draft class. Maybe one of these guys right here, that would be great. But like 3 of these guys out of these top 6 at least to be good starters in this league. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and peace.